Hello, beautiful yogis. My name is Asia. Thank you so much for joining me for our class today. It's going to be a quick power minute, more than a minute, but it'll be really fun, really great. It'll get your body strong, which is what we want from yoga. If you're feeling a little lacking in energy today, don't worry. That's what yoga's for. Yoga will bring you that energy, bring you that power that you need. So, as always, we're going to get our space created. However, your space needs to be to get you in the moment. If you want water, definitely grab water. You can reach for water at any point in the class. I don't explicitly say, get water now, but you can literally get water whenever. You could stop whenever. You can do anything as long as you keep up with me, because I know you can do it. And then I have a playlist as always. Feel free to use it. And whenever you're ready, we're going to get started. And you're going to make your way to your back and, of course, start your playlist. Your feet can be planted in front of you so that you have a long, straight spine on the mat. Allow your shoulders to sink in. That's usually a space of a lot of tension. That's where we hold a lot of tension, a lot of us. So just allow your shoulders to really relax, melt into the mat. And maybe your hands fall open next to you, or maybe they're placed on top of one another at heart center. And then just take a moment to breathe. Your breath is easy, grounding you in the moment. Taking a deep breath in through the nose. And a deep breath out through the mouth. Expelling anything you don't need for your practice. Anything you might be stressed about, anything that's on your mind that you can't stop thinking about. We all have them. I have so many things I can't stop thinking about right now. But how can we allow this time on our mat to just be about that, to just be about our yoga practice and the connection of our mind with our body and our breath? This class is going to have a lot of back bends, so I want to focus on how when we do a back bend, we look up toward the sky. And just like you're doing right now on your back, you're looking up toward the sky. And a lot of times, especially in a back bend that can feel uncomfortable for some of us, it's a risk. It's always a risk to bring our bodies physically into something challenging, but also in general in our lives, it's a risk to put ourselves into a challenging position. But what's important is looking up. And when we maintain our eye contact with the sky and with what's positive and with what can bring us forward in that moment rather than down and back, we will realize that will anchor us. It will ground us in the moment, and it will allow us to take the risk, to breathe through it, and to be happy that you did it. So I want us to think about those things as we go through our practice today. Now let's take another deep breath in through the nose. This time sealing your lips and breathing out through the nose again. This is our Ujjayi breath we're going to use for our practice today. Warming our bodies. And then when you're ready, really plant down through your feet. We're going to lift our hips up to a bridge. So your hands can be palms down on the mat next to you. And then lift up into a bridge, squeezing your butt at the top. And then bringing your hips back down. Lifting up your hips again, squeezing your butt. And then bringing them back down. And then the last time, bringing your hips up. And then holding here as we interlace our fingers underneath. And then tuck each shoulder underneath you. So you're kind of like laying on top of your shoulder, of each shoulder. And then press your hips even further up. Breathing here. Holding for 3, 4, 2, and 1. Unlace your fingers. I could not think of how to say that. Unlace your fingers. Your hips are back down. All right. From here, hands extend up overhead. So you're looking at your hands, wiggle them a little. They're here, they're present. And then we're going to do a sit-up. But you're not going to use the momentum of your hands, your arms. You're just going to use your abs. We're going to need a lot of core strength in our class today. So let's start with just lifting up. Using your core strength until you're seated. All right, swing your legs around, and you're going to meet me in a tabletop. Wrists are stacked under your shoulders. Knees are stacked under your hips. From here, some cat-cows. What else is new? That's what we do. Make sure that your fingers are spread wide. You have a very strong support system here. And then drop your belly button, lift your tailbone up toward the sky, and gaze forward for cow. And then tuck your tailbone, navel draws in, crown of head points toward the mat for cat. And then drop the belly button for cow. And then bring the navel in, tucking your tailbone for cat. Now do a few more of those on your own, with your own breath, feeling the rhythm of your body, and just waking up the spine. As we do back bends, our spine is going to need all that space, all that energy. So how can this start of our practice bring us toward that goal? When you're ready, come back to a neutral spine, tuck your toes, and then lift your hips up and back for downward facing dog. This is your first one. So as usual, we're going to walk out the dog a bit, pressing each heel into the mat, really spreading wide through those fingertips still. And then allow a bend in the knee maybe. This is your first one, so it's okay to have a bend in the knee. And then sink your chest toward your thighs. Allowing your neck to relax, maybe wiggling it a little to just remind it to relax. Taking a deep breath in here. And a deep breath out. From here, bend your knees if you're not already. Look up toward your hands and slow walk to your hands, landing in a forward fold. There's still a bend in your knees here for an extra stretch in that low back. Maybe you're interlacing your hands behind your knees. And then let that go and roll up, vertebrae by vertebrae, up to stand. Head is the last thing to rise. Shoulders come up and down the back. You're landing in mountain pose. So your palms are shining forward, gaze is forward. Your feet are hip-width distance apart. Taking a moment here to pause, to be in the moment, to be centered. From here, interlace your fingers behind you, just as we did in the bridge, pressing your shoulder blades together, and then bending back. In this back bend position, how can we look up? This is just the beginning, but how can we focus on the positives? Focus on what this moment will bring us. And then from here, come back to a neutral spine, and then with your hands still interlaced, fold down for forward fold. So your hands are pointing up toward the sky now. And then release that. And then inhale yourself for a halfway lift. Your fingertips can come to your shins or to the ground in front of you. Long, straight spine, gazing up toward the top of the mat. And then exhale. Palms come to the mat. Bend your knees so that your palms can touch completely. And then step your right foot back. Step your left foot back. You're in your first plank. Really engaging your core here. And breathing. From here, lower all the way down, keeping your elbows into your body. When your forehead touches the mat, untuck your toes. And then bring your forearms to the mat next to your head, on each side of your head. And widen those fingertips still, those fingers. And then lift your upper body and you're in Sphinx pose. So in this pose, we're really feeling that stretch in our low back. Again, feeling your spine, creating space in this moment, and preparing us for our practice. And then lower back down to the mat. And then bring your hands next to your chest. Elbows come into your body. Tuck your toes, and then press yourself all the way up to plank. And then send your hips up and back for downward facing dog. All right, now let's get going with our flow. You got this. We are ready for it. Inhale your right leg up and back for three-legged dog. Keeping those right toes pointed down toward the mat and squaring your hips. Bring your knee to your nose. Hold it here a moment, engaging your core. And then step your right foot between your hands. You're in a low lunge. From here, drop your back knee, untuck their toe, and then lift your hands up and overhead. Keeping those hips square still. Sending your right hip back, your left hip forward. Interlace your hands behind your back. And then allow yourself to back bend here, looking up toward the sky. Breathing here a moment. And then coming back, framing your foot with your hands. Tucking your toes, lifting your back knee. And then bring yourself all the way up into a high lunge. Make sure that your right knee is stacked over your right ankle. Breathing here with power, engaging through your legs, feeling your body start to light up with energy. Now, when you're ready, bring your hands to frame your foot, and you're on your fingertips because you're going to come into a warrior three. If you have a block, you can place your hands on that, but bring your weight onto your right foot, kick off the back foot, and then keep your hips square, left toes pointed down toward the mat. Long, straight spine. You're in a warrior three. From here, bring your left knee into your center body, bringing your left foot down to meet the right. You're in a forward fold. And then press up to chair. Weight is sinking all the way back into your heels so that your toes can wiggle. Tailbone is tucked to engage your core. From here, bring your weight onto the balls of your feet. Send your fingertips back. You're in a diver's pose. You can keep your knees bent here or straighten them out. Long, straight spine, gazing up toward the top of the mat. Now, sit back into chair. Pausing here a moment, engaging through the core. And then forward fold over your legs. Place your palms on the mat. Left foot back, right foot back. You're in a plank. And then you're going to lower all the way down to the mat until your forehead's touching the mat. Untuck your toes. Keeping your palms on the mat, lift up your body. You're in a baby cobra. Sending weight into your palms and the shoelace side of your feet. And then exhale yourself back down, forehead touches the mat. Tuck your toes, and then press yourself into plank, and then send your hips up and back for downward facing dog. All right, let's take that on the other side. Left foot comes up and back for three-legged dog. Keeping those hips square, left toes pointed down toward the mat. Bring your knee to your nose. Pause here a moment to engage your core. And then bring your left foot between your hands. You're in a low lunge. All right, from here, you're going to drop your back knee, untuck your back toe, and then lift your hands up and overhead. From here, interlace your hands behind your back, and then allow yourself to back bend, looking up toward the sky. Allowing your body a chance to breathe and stretch and be present. From here, frame your foot again. Tuck the back toes, lift your back knee off the mat, and then rise up to high lunge. Your left knee is stacked over your left ankle. Hips are square, so your left hip is pressing back, your right hip is pressing forward. From here, you're going to send your weight into your left leg. We're going to come into a warrior 3 on our left side. So you're going to send all your weight into your left leg, bring your fingertips to a block or to the mat in front of you, and then kick off the back foot. Your right toes are pointed down toward the mat, long straight spine, gazing toward the top of the mat. Pausing here a moment to breathe, to feel that balance and stability, even in a moment of challenge. And then bend your back leg, send it into the center line, and then spring your right foot down to meet your left, and land in a forward fold. From here, you're going to press up, sitting back into a chair pose. Again, weight is in your heels, so much so that you can wiggle your toes. Tucking your tailbone. And then sending your weight into the balls of your feet. Fingertips come behind you. You're in a diver's pose. Really pressing those shoulder blades together and looking up towards the top of the mat. So if you feel your neck craning up, make sure that you're looking down, but you're looking up toward the top of the mat. And then press back, sitting back into a chair. Holding here a moment, and then forward fold. Palms down on the mat in front of you. Step or hop back to plank. And then from here, we're going to lower it down for chaturanga, halfway down, so your elbows come into your body, and then inhale yourself up to upward facing dog. All that's touching the mat are your palms and the shoelace side of your feet. And then from here, flip over your toes, hips come up and back for downward facing dog. All right. Right away, keep going. We're going to lift our right foot up and back for three-legged dog. Knee to nose, and then step your right foot between your hands for a low lunge. From here, you can shorten your stance a bit, pointing your left toes 45 degrees to the left, and then rising up into a warrior 1. So this pose is still with hips that are square. So your left hip can press forward as your right hip presses back. You can self-assist yourself with that by using your hands. From here, interlace your hands behind your back, just like we've been doing. Pressing your shoulder blades together as you inhale, and then exhale, devotional warrior. Hands come up toward the sky as the crown of your head comes toward the mat. Taking a moment to breathe here. To feel the strength of your legs grounding you and strengthening you. And then rise yourself back up to warrior 1. Frame your foot with your hands coming into low lunge. And then step your right foot back for plank. And then take whichever flow works for you. Meeting me in a downward facing dog. Right away from here, we're going to take it on the other side. So left leg comes up and back for three-legged dog. And then knee to nose. And then step your left foot between your hands for low lunge. Shorten your stance a bit, turning your right toes 45 degrees to the right. And then rising up to a warrior 1. Again, maybe self-assisting your body so that your hips are square. From here, interlace your hands behind your back, pressing your shoulder blades together as you inhale, and then exhale, devotional warrior, sending the crown of your head toward the mat. Hands come up toward the sky. Breathing here a moment. And then rising back up with power to warrior 1. And then come down, frame your foot with your hands. You're in a low lunge. Step your left foot back. You're in a plank. And then again, take whichever flow works for you. Meeting me in a downward facing dog. All right, from here, we're going to shift forward so that we're in a plank. If you need to lengthen your plank, that's fine. And then we're going to hold here a moment, really strengthening in the core by pulling your navel in. Holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop your knees. From here, sit back onto your heels. You're in a thunderbolt. Taking a moment now to breathe. We're about to go into our peak pose for this class. I believe that you are ready, but it is a moment of risk and a moment to look up, to look at the positives, and to look what you can gain from allowing yourself a moment to be challenged. All right, from here, once you've taken a moment to breathe, press up so that you're on your knees, butt is off your heels, and your toes are untucked behind you. Now, making sure that your knees are hip width distance apart, you have a long straight spine. We're going to come into camel pose. So, you're going to back bend and then grab onto your heels with your hands. If it's more comfortable for you to come onto each heel one at a time, that's okay. Whatever variation you need in order to do this pose with me, you can do it. But you're going to use, as you press down, as you come back into this pose, you're going to feel your core strengthen. You're really going to need this core strength for this pose. So let's get into it. Sinking back, keeping that spine straight as you do so for a bit, and then grabbing onto each heel with each hand and allowing your body to back bend, to look up toward the sky, and just breathing. This is our peak pose today because it's not an easy pose. It's definitely not an easy pose to talk while you do it. It's a challenge. It's a risk. But how can we use what we talked about throughout class of looking up, looking for the positives, to center us, to ground us, and to be present? When you're ready, come back up onto your knees. You're in a neutral spine. Sit back onto your heels and then swing your legs in front of you. Legs are extended out in front of you, flexing through the feet. Arms come up and overhead. Inhale, and then exhale. Bringing your fingers around your big toes as you pull your chest into your legs. You're going to inhale as you lengthen, and then exhale as you fold deeper. So you want to try to keep your spine as long as possible, rather than curving it in order to get closer to your legs. All right, from here, come back up to a neutral spine. We did a lot of back bends today, a lot of spine movement. So how does it feel to just be in this moment of a neutral spine? Now from here, we're going to bring our right foot to the, bend your leg, and then bring it to the outside of your left knee. And then hook your left elbow onto the outside of your right knee. You can extend your left arm and then twist to the right. Your right hand can come in towards your butt to lengthen the spine. Sinking into this twist and breathing. All right, from here, come back to center. Extend your right leg back out again, and then bend your left leg, bringing your left foot to the outside of your right knee. And then hooking your right elbow onto the outside of your left knee, maybe extending through that right arm, and then twisting open to the left. Again, your left hand can come right behind your butt so that you're promoting length in your spine. Inhale as you lengthen up. Exhale as you deepen the twist. All right, from here, come back to a neutral spine. Maybe bend both legs, planting your feet in front of you, and then roll down slowly onto your back. With your feet planted in front of you, your entire back, from your low back all the way up, should be flat on the mat. Sometimes coming into cactus arms can press both shoulders into the mat, so that you're really sinking in. Maybe tuck your tailbone in a little bit to really feel that low back on the mat. And just taking a moment here, resting in that neutral spine. If you don't usually do back bends or do camel pose in your practice, it's important to come back to a neutral spine afterwards. And then from here, extend both legs out. Allow your hands to fall wherever they are. Palms can shine up toward the sky. Allow your eyes to close for final Shavasana. This is a moment of meditation, but really it's a moment to just breathe. You've put in the work, you've challenged your body. So now allow your body to cool down, to rest, and to stay present in the moment. And if you feel your mind wandering, allow your breath to work for you. And allow your mind to think back to what we've been talking about in our class today, of looking up toward the sky. Imagine the sky however you want. Maybe it's a sunrise, a sunset, clouds, blue. However you feel the sky is most beautiful, look up toward the sky. Look up toward the positives. Look up toward the good that can happen when you take a risk. I'll allow you a moment to breathe. And I'll let you know when it's time to come out of it. When you're ready, allow your breath to bring you back into the room, back into the moment. Maybe do a good morning stretch, stretching your arms up overhead, from your fingertips to your toes, stretching open. And then come onto one side of your body using your bicep as a pillow and hug your knees into your chest. Your eyes can stay closed. Just allowing yourself a chance to breathe, to get back into the room. And then press yourself up to an easy pose. Again, your eyes can stay closed. Hands can come to heart center. Take one more deep breath in. This time exhaling through the mouth. expelling any last thing that doesn't serve you. And then just really taking a moment to honor yourself for what you've done in your practice today, for being here at all, and for just showing up for yourself. Even in our short flows, whatever fits into your day, you're doing so much good for your body by practicing, by coming onto your mat and giving your body a chance to be free and to move with ease and with your breath, but also to challenge yourself physically, mentally, because those same things that we learn on our mat, we can take into our lives. And in a moment when it feels really difficult, or it feels like everything seems low or negative, how can we look up? Look up toward the sky and think, I'm here, I'm present, and I'm capable. Bow down, bringing your thumbs to your third eye. The light and power in me sees and honors the light and power in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for flowing with me. I've had such a great time. I'll be back again next week with another class. If you have any suggestions or anything you want to see, any class length, anything at all, please let me know. But until then, I'll see you again. Have a beautiful rest of your day.